considered and acted upon during the 1 hour period that the ballot box is open for the library expansion. So you wouldn't necessarily know at that point what you're dealing with.
Well, the only other alternative to that is at the end of the meeting under other business and say, I make a motion that, somebody makes a motion to lower.
A couple of years ago, this happened, and the moderator asked, because we have the 1 hour ballot open, can we move this warrant article to 1 hour from now? So you people know how the vote went, and that was seamless. So I guess we've already voted that this is a separate warrant article from the potential library warrant article.
And I will be happy to take on developing the contingency language to.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you just need to cite the article number that is the library. That's one
Right.
of the articles in it. Yeah.
So we don't need, this is just changing the wording, there's no vote necessary,
Right.
is there?
Right.
Next is to remove, quote, no amount to be raised from taxation from the warrant article on the contingency fund. I have no problem with that, do you
Right.
folks?
No, I
Consistent with what we did the other day, yeah.
Do we need a motion on that, or is this just a housekeeping?
Just a housekeeping.
Okay. Okay, gentlemen, as you review the warrant articles, and Karen, are there any other warrant articles that we need to review?
Just the library and Jim's paving of the garage one that I can think of.
Okay. In the library, we have discussion in a few minutes, correct?
Yep.
If you need it for your review, from 2004, I've kept a copy of all the warrant articles, Chip, that passed, and what the effect was on the budget.
Yeah, I think we just need to be prepared. I don't want to stumble at town meeting. We need to all be on the same page, as well as the budget committee. How we're approaching this problem.
Anything else on warrant articles?
Bibliotech, huh?
We have a few minutes. Budget review, planning and zoning revisit, 4191.
You know what? I don't think I actually got those from Diane. Let me go check. You need two of them.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Okay, let's move on to review and approval of minutes. Can we take up December 8th?
That happened.
I have nothing.
I have no changes.
Nor do
Move approval as presented.
I. I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next is December 11th. I have nothing.
Excuse me, did the first one get?
Yes.
Okay.
Move approval as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. I have the draft for December 15th. I'm all set.
I have no changes. Move approval as presented.
I'll second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And December 29th. I'm all set.
Move approval as presented.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I've got two on the 29th for some
Well,
reason.
go ahead. Call for
It's
the,
the same one, isn't it?
Oh, it's the same one.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Did Bill move on,
Copies.
Yeah.
Bill and
on the first one?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Karen,
Yep,
from the Board of Selectmen to you, a compliment on your minutes
thank you.
for the entire year. Okay, we have 5 minutes to start talking about planning and zoning revisited. That is 4190. You wanted to be heard. Sir,
Who?
do you have anything?
We neglected to encumber monies to cover the master plan update work that's ongoing under contract, unfortunately. So we need to add money to the budget in 2018 under the master plan review line to account for that. And I do not have a copy of that contract in front of me, but
It's saying that we encumbered $1,500 here.
No, if I may speak.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to, I took the liberty of keying in the remainder of the master plan balance from 2017 in the footnote here.
Right.
That's what was left over, and that's what was discussed in the previous meeting, to use the leftover. And I added the $1,500 that was approved by the Selectmen previous meeting. So I added the two amounts together, and it came up with $46.80, assuming that that's what you were gonna do today.
okay. All right, so that's,
So we didn't encumber anything.
No, not yet.
we did
Okay.
not.
No, I mean,
I don't know the
I
account.
shouldn't have put that in there, that's misleading.
Okay.
Right,
It
but we
it
need,
was just
we
a
need to add
footnote.
that, we need to add that money into to
Yes.
adjust the request.
I'll remove
2018.
that, I'll remove that encumbered
Okay.
note.
All right. So I
So the night,
will move that we increase 4191,036.80 to $4,680, which is an increase of $3,180. Brings the grand total for 4191 to $23,188.
I'll second.
okay. Karen, you have that?
Yep.
Does that jive with your figures?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. The next one is Personnel Administration, 4155. And what are the changes
I
here?
have that in front of me.
Go ahead, sir.
It's a change in the only change that I can see is in the retirement fund.
And the FICA and Medicare combined, Social Security, those are the two,
Right,
yes.
so,
You have Social Security,
It was
65,000?
That's the new,
65,867. We had approved 65,755, so it's a calculation error. The same with the retirement, because we approved $184,365, and it should be $184,485. So an increase of $220 there, or $120, I'm sorry. And on the FICA, it's $122. But, so I'm gonna make a motion that we change the bottom line of budget 01415501 from the previously approved 588,313 to increase the line items for Social Security and retirement for a total new budget of $588,545.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Thank you guys, because you're $6,000 less than last year's. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0. It's approaching 10:20. Let's talk about the library warrant article, library trustees, and our treasurer, Jack Widmer. Come on down.
Honorable Jack Whitman.
Come on down.
Oh, yeah.
I see you very often.
Happy New Year, sir.
Our
How are
paths
you?
cross.
Hi there.
I don't know if I have enough copies. I think
Well, if not, we actually do still have.
we will have a copy machine.
Some of it's done.
Okay, I met with Merrifield Savings Bank last week and told them what we're looking for. And I told them to do it at 1.1 million. I don't know if that's going to be a little high or a little low, depending on how much money is raised, obviously. But I thought that was a good number to start with anyway. We did talk about different terms, and for that small amount, they usually don't like to go more than 10 years, but they can. It depends on how much interest you want to pay over the life of the loan. What they did, and the interest rate obviously increases as you spread out the loan longer term. So what they presented here was 5-year, 7-year, and 10-year. Now, if you want to do 12-year or 15-year or whatever, they're accommodating to do whatever terms that you feel like doing. The payments are on the back side, the next page, and these are based on the same, fixed principal amount, which is normally what towns do. They don't normally amortize. They have a fixed principal amount, so each year the payment actually might be going down.
And that's what we're doing with the fire station,
Right,
for instance.
right. And that's generally the way it is, but if you want a standard amortization schedule where you pay the same fixed amount every year, you can do that as well. It doesn't really matter. You can see on the 5-year, the interest rate is 3.62%, and the interest over the 5 years is $119,460 for a total payment of $1.219 million. 7-year, the payment goes from $259,000 per year, the first year anyway, to $199,000 over 7 years. But the interest rate does go up to 3.81%. Again, fixed principal. And then the 10-year, the interest rate goes up to 4.05%. And again, the first year payment is $155, and it declines down to $114 on the 10th year. Interest going from 5 years to 10 years goes from $119,000 to $245,000. I did not make copies for everyone, but I did run a couple of amortization schedules for 5 years with the standard amortization, say fixed payment, same payment each year. The interest winds up over 5 years to be about $3,000 more. Again, the payment is $244,000 each year, as opposed to $259, $251, $243, and declining. Let's see, actually, I did make some copies of these. I think I might be one copy short on this, but. Look at that.
Just you have any more?
I don't have any yet. You can have my copies.
You're done.
So the first page again is the 5%, 5-year rather. The second page is 7-year with again a fixed payment each year, and the interest rate. The interest goes from 170. See, where is it? The total interest from 167 to 173, about $6,000 more if you use a standard amortization. And the third page is the 10-year payment, again fixed amount per year, and the total interest is 259,000 as opposed to 245,000. So again, it's just depending on how you want to borrow the money. Again, ordinarily, on a loan like this, you go just like the fire station where you have a fixed principal amount and you pay each year.
CIP recommended 20 years.
Yeah, I mean.
And when I heard that, I thought to myself, that seemed like an awful long term.
Yeah.
And recognizing their commitments too, what they project. But 20 years on $1 million, $1.1 million is.
Well, even if you went to 15 years, I did a 15-year at a 4.55% interest,
Yeah.
just as a guesstimate, and we're looking at $400,000 worth of interest. Because you're spreading it out. If you go to 20 years, you're probably looking at $600,000 worth of interest on $1.1 million,
Right.
which makes very little sense.
The time value theory of money is good up to a point.
Yeah, and I think if you really look at the cost on the tax bill, I think on 10 years, and again, I'm using old numbers, I think, but I think it's like 12 cents on a tax bill, using the current assessed valuation on a 10-year basis.
Per thousand?
Per thousand. So it's pretty small number.
For example, what was the fire station? That was a 15-year building at 2.49%. Wasn't it 8 cents per thousand?
Yeah, it was a little more, I think it turned out to be a little bit more than that, but, so this is even gonna be less than that, I think. But again, I'm not sure exactly how they calculate that out on total assessed valuation, and I didn't have the current assessment for the town.
This is a straight note, correct?
Straight note,
No prepayment.
simple interest,
No prepayment penalty?
no prepayment penalty.
No points.
No points. The documentation fee is gonna be about $700, which is kind of standard.
And some banks require, if we take notes out, we have to change all our accounts over to their bank. There's none of that collateral.
No, and of course, we're all with Meredith Village now. I didn't go to any other banks yet. I'm sure the interest rates aren't gonna be that much different. But, yeah, there's no issue if we do go to another bank. We could certainly do that. But I think, we're in good shape with Meredith Village right at this point. My recommendation too, I think is, well, I think you go further than 10 years. Something like this.
Right.
And it doesn't make any sense to bond it.
Well,
It's not enough money.
Well, it's really not enough money, and if you've gone through the bond process before, you're gonna spend $20,000 on bond fees just to get the paperwork done.
And the bond doesn't come out till later in the year, right?
Right, the bond, you have to time that.
This guy's the expert on it.
I don't project the expert. 5-year bond, I don't remember ever seeing one. So
I
think
don't
we're
think,
limited to 10.
I think you'd be limited to 10 on a bond, and
Yeah.
you're gonna pay all that money up front. And you're limited too on when you can take your money. Because when they do the bond, they only do the bond once or twice a year.
Right.
Usually July and December. So, this money, if the warrant passes in March, the money is available whenever you want it. We dated these notes on the closing date, May 1. If it's June 1, or if you have everything ready to go April 1, they don't really care. But the money's available anytime you want it.
Yeah, I mean, we can call up bond council and ask, but I think 3.6% rate, or actually, if you're looking apples for apples, a 10-year rate of 4%.
Yeah.
I'm not certain that we're gonna gain an awful lot in that department either, because I think their bond rates are currently
Right.
at upper 3s.
And the paperwork,
Money.
the paperwork to do it is more of a hassle than anything else. Right.
You can't prepay a
You
bond.
can't prepay a bond. The only thing the bank asks for is 3 years of audited statements, which is certainly not a problem. And they have 2015's annual report. They'd like copy of last year's 2016 and this year's 2017 when it's available. Other than that, they don't require anything else from us. So it's pretty cut and dry. Again, I think, My preference, because we just restarted our relationship with Meredith Village last year, they're more than willing to do this. I think it's a natural fit to go with them, but I'm certainly more than happy to call Northway Bank or a couple of dealers to see if their rates are significantly different. But
I would,
I don't think so.
I have no problem with
Yeah.
figures. I would inquire people
Yeah.
just from the corporate lending that
Sure.
we've been involved with, not we collectively, but we
Yeah.
have been involved with it. They treat us very well.
Yeah.
So,
So, yeah, I'll be happy to contact a couple of banks just to see what I think these are good base numbers to
Yeah.
work with. And the ultimate decision on length and time is up to the selectmen anyway if the warrant passes.
Do we have a figure of how much money we have in the bank with pledges and
Yeah,
donations?
I added that up this morning, and it's $415,999.
That's what's in the capital reserve
According to
fund.
our books, funny you should ask that. According to our books, cash in hand as of the end of close of business at the end of the year, we were at $720,526 and change.
That's including the other pledges.
That's-
No, that's not including the other pledges, and we don't have the end of the year December statement from the capital
Well,
reserve fund yet.
jump right
So
in.
in addition to that, over and above the 725.26, we have $112,000 in confirmed pledges.
So $830,000 in round figures. Which brings us down to $1,090,000.
Yeah, so the $1,000,001 is.
We're not through.
We're not through yet.
No.
Right, okay.
And the warrant article will be written that if someone came through and wanted to make a six-figure donation,
If I had won the Powerball, you would have heard the excavators right now.
yeah.
I didn't.
So what we need to fund somehow going forward is about $1.1 million. correct?
1.1 or less is the way it looks.
Now, I've had people ask, so I'm passing it on, what would the hit be to the town if someone stood up and said, I move we pay for this all in 1 year? Do you have those figures?
Well, based on what I was looking at the last assessment, you're looking at an increase of,
I don't mean to
It's
push.
like a penny per $10,000 in current expense.
Yeah,
So
so
it's current rate $4.70. Something like
for the town portion,
that. Right,
it's about 470 right now.
okay.
Yeah.
So if you add $1 million to the budget, you're putting it an additional 25% on the budget.
Yeah. So it's going to be a
So-
$1.10.
Yeah, $1.10.
$1.10, $1.20.
Again, that question was asked to me. so-
Yeah.
Yeah, $1.10, I mean.
But then it's paid for.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, and I'm sure there are other people at this table who would agree that I'd rather pay $1.10 1,000 this year and be done with it, but.
Yeah.
There is an
Whether or
element
not
of
to-
that.
Yeah.
Well, I think the problem anytime, if this is a one-time project and you don't have a lot going forward,
Yeah.
that's an okay approach. But if you're gonna hit a $1.10 now and then say you do the police station next year and you say, okay, it's gonna be another $1.10 next year,
Yeah.
it's a whole lot easier to take this and spread it out over 5 or 10 years. And next year, put the police station in for the same kind of money. I'm assuming, looking at a new station is gonna be 1.1, 1.2 million less, or whatever you have in reserve or whatever. So you're not looking at adding that much more for the tax base. And over 5 years or 10 years, it's all paid for without the big hit all at once. And I think of course, they don't have voting rights a lot of times, but these people that are paying the huge tax bills, I think you just have to be sensitive to the fact that with the new tax laws and all that stuff too, that, their tax bills
some limits.
go up anyway. And be careful hitting them all at once.
Yeah. No, and the 5-year plan, I think, is probably the most sensible. I mean, it's not that expensive, but you're right. I mean, we're also buying a fire engine at $1 million this year,
Yeah.
and a police station at some point in the future.
Mhm.
And I guess I'll ask you, the treasurer, when in our debt retirement, what's coming up? Anything we're pay off.
We haven't really had any debt out there for the most part.
Yeah, we've got still
Um,
some years to go on the
the-
fire station.
Yeah, we have years to go on the fire station, but other than that, we really haven't had a whole lot of debt.
Right,
Yeah.
other than the lease purchase.
Right.
That we've been doing, and
Right.
I don't think we're finishing any lease purchases this year.
Yeah, not this year.
Jump into another one.
Yeah.
It just shows good corporate governance.
I had a couple of questions. For the library project to go forward, we've already raised or come up with 40%, correct?
40% from the town.
Yes.
The library has come up with an additional 40%.
So this project, out of new taxes,
Not 40.
is 60% of the project. Do you understand my
Yeah,
question?
yes.
Less than 60.
Yeah, probably less than 60% is going to come
Because
from the new tax.
I've had people in the last 3 or 4 years saying, out of new taxes, if it starts to be 60, 50% in new taxes, I'll vote for it, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Now, the next question I have is, as I understand it, the town cannot be in the lending business. Our savings accounts and checking accounts are at passbook savings and checking accounts. However, trustees of the library and trustees of the trust funds are allowed to invest money. And as I understand it, last year, like for example, the trustee of the trust funds made $90,000 in interest.
Sure.
And that was at what, 4, 5, 6%?
Probably more than that based on where the market's gone and where the investments.
And I know this, when I was on the CIP committee, on the budget committee, we looked forward to that because there's no inflation. This is basically 2008, and it's good business for those 3
Sure.
people in one office and the 5 people in the other to really, they're making money for us in some sense.
sure.
Am I overstating it?
No, I think the trustee of trust funds right now is in much better shape than in past years where they really didn't have a direction. They have a management company running the trustees, the trust now. And they're doing investments on a conservative basis, obviously. But if you look at where most everybody's, if you have a 401k or an IRA, or what's happened to it this year based on the markets and all that, if they're only making 3 or 4% or something, there's something wrong, because they should have been making a whole lot more this year. And that benefits certainly the year-end statement for the capital reserve fund for the library. Whatever was in there, if you accounted on 5%, you should say probably 8 or 9% this year based on where the market was.
Didn't make it. Town didn't make it. We started off, I'm looking, what I'm looking at right now is our Marshall Hunter's figures for us for the end of the year. And we started off with our own library fidelity account at the beginning of the year at about $61,000. We had a gift of $3,000 depreciated stock over the course of the year. But we also had to sell stock to pay fees that we were not able, that you gentlemen had voted on, but didn't come through, so we had to sell some stock. The end result is a plus or minus, we're at 70, not quite, a little bit over $71,000 at the end of the year. So we made a lot more money than the town did. And I'm not,
Yeah.
because the town, we do not have the end of the year figures from the town, but we started off with our town accounts at $300,000 plus added the capital reserve money. So after that came in, we're at $412,000, and we're at 400 and, well, we're showing $416,000 right now.
Yeah.
So we made a lot of money.
Well, I'm not certain all the posting's been done there
Yeah,
either. so
well, it's not,
we'll see.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny money right
The
now.
$400,000 should have returned 30 grand, you know,
I would say.
I would think.
So that's where we are today. I'll go back and contact a couple of other banks and see what kind of rates we can get, to see if they're close or whatever, and kind of go from there. As soon as I would say probably a week before the town vote, you might want to decide which bank you really want to go with. So they'll lock the rate in. And they'll only lock rates in now for 30 days because of the volatility in markets. So they'll lock the rates in for 30 days, but then as long as this passes, then you're locked into whatever the rate is at that point in time.
And nobody's giving toasters anymore.
No toasters anymore. No microwaves, no toasters.
Maybe a roto-broil.
Hmm.
Okay, and we can, I guess we'll decide what we feel is a good term
Yeah.
from our perspective. And the library can decide how we're gonna present. Because I think that's gonna be part of it. And people
When do we want to have that discussion? Right now?
go
or-
prior to the town meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, have we voted on the library? Warrant article? I thought we had.
Karen, have we voted on the,
No, I think it's just been tabled until you met with them.
So we need. to-
I believe so.
do you have the figures? Want to make a motion?
Well, the original request was for $1,920,000, is that?
You should say that in the warrant article, I think.
Yeah, you have to say that, and
Total
then,
amount.
The aggregate amount.
the amount to be borrowed, yeah, I'm not sure exactly
I
how it
brought the
has to
one
be
for
written.
2015, the last time we did this, which has all the wording,
Yeah, 'cause that's
how.
probably the way it has to be written.
Well, let's go through it. To see if the town will vote and appropriate the sum of, and what's that figure? $1.9 million?
1.92.
$1,920,000.
That's the first change.
And then to authorize and the issuance of not more than 1,100,000, if that's going to be the number that.
Okay.
But it's not to build and equip a new
Right,
library.
it's
No, no, no.
Build and equip in addition to the current one.
Build and renovate, there's, to renovate and expand the existing
Right.
library.
Renovate, expand, and equip.
Which,
Renovate, expand, and equip the current library.
okay.
And then issuance of not more than $1,100,000.
Of notes.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you can say of bonds and notes, I don't know if of bonds has to be in there as part of the legal wording, but.
And DRA will clean it up for us if there's a problem. It's to authorize the withdrawal of, what's that figure? Furthermore, to authorize the withdrawal of,
Well, we don't know what that is yet.
okay, so that's a work
Oh,
in
yeah,
progress.
Well, I
The
mean,
existing library capital reserve fund.
Well, you're gonna